Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Settlers, the project where we build towns, villages and settlements across the world of Conan Exiles. Today we are back in the Overlook building some huts for our Darfari tribe to live in, and we'll be returning to the shipwreck a bit later on too. So, without further ado, let's get started. Firstly, I started off by laying out the foundations for the huts. These homes will be located on the western edge of the Overlook, partially hanging off the cliff face here, similarly to how the Commons area does. I stuck with the usual material palette here, and I was careful not to build any of the huts too large, save for one or two. Whilst these Darfari have established some form of architecture and order within their tribe, they are far from luxurious masons, and anything other than smaller, cobbled together huts just doesn't capture the correct atmosphere. Whilst I was building these foundations, I wanted to make sure there was a place for almost a small street down this passage to access the houses, so you'll see me adjusting the spacing and placement between the huts regularly to that end. Once I'd reached the point where I added ceilings to the huts, I ran pillars down into the ground at regular intervals. At first I wasn't sure about this, but I've actually grown to like this supported scaffolding feeling. I think it suits the build and the overall theme quite nicely. I may also build some more houses or something a little further down this cliff face in the future, but for now I stuck to the huts I was already establishing on the edge of the cliff. Once I'd finished the foundations, including adding a completely suspended platform, I began on the walls. Of course, I stuck with the usual Flotsam material set. I usually always build at least 2 tiles high, but in my effort to make things a bit more primitive, I chose to only build 1 tile high for these huts. It'll make the interior feel a bit cramped and uncomfortable, but that's perfectly fine. These aren't luxurious homes, they're simply places to sleep hidden away from the rain. I also added a small walkway to connect the fully suspended platform, which runs very tightly between 2 of the smaller huts. A little later on, I also added another suspended home built as a small 2x2. Once I'd finished the walls, I then added Flotsam door frames beneath the ceilings of each hut. I've used this a lot already to create that rough scaffolding feeling, and I used it again here to great effect. Once I'd finished off the door frames, it was time for the roofing. I was initially going to use Flotsam, which would have been perfectly fine, but instead I opted to use wooden sloped roofs. I don't really use these roof pieces often enough. They work really nicely for more rustic designs, and they suit the walls of the hut well without being too similar. The intention here is to stave off the consistent rain in this area and keep things inside dry. I built the roofs in a very simple fashion, simply following the flow of each building, which sometimes included adding a rounded or open gable, depending on the size and structure of each respective hut. The majority of these roofs are gazebo roofs, which I built with a flat top as mainly a stylistic choice, which works quite nicely actually. Finally, I added one small hut a bit further down the western side, built in the same style as the others. Finally, when the shell of the build was done, it was then time to, of course, furnish. Approaching the huts, I've decorated the exterior fairly lightly, including some more Darfari banners, torches and a couple of rough benches. I also added some very primitive doors at the entrance of each hut. These huts are designed as function over form, as the Darfari won't really be spending much time in here other than to sleep. Most huts only include beds and some small decoration, maybe even a little bit of storage, aside from one or two huts that have been designed for more notable community members. The first of these is the full suspension hut, which includes a much nicer bed, more storage, and a table and chair for the tribal chief, whom we haven't yet met, but we will soon. The second, more lavish hut is a bit further down, including lots of storage for the tribal carpenter, who will again meet properly soon enough. Don't worry, this carpenter won't be getting kidnapped by pirates, at least I hope not. The remaining huts stay very simple, aside from the final hut, which is designed for two Yoggite priests who get to live in a slightly nicer home than the rest due to their role. The priesthood is a very coveted position to hold within the tribe, and arguably they might even hold more influence than the chief himself. Back over at the shipwreck discovered last time, Teleh has summoned some workers to begin to dismantle the ship and salvage its resources. The wood, metal and fabrics will go straight back to the tribe, used for armour and architecture primarily. These salvage jobs are incredibly valuable to the Darfari, though it's still unclear where the ship came from. The rain has doused the fire at the hut, which still remains in ruins underneath the tree. As the Darfari work to dismantle this ship, hostile eyes watch over them. On the ridge high above the ship, remaining unspotted by Teleh, a small tribe well known to the Darfari lurk above. The Yargan are a tribe that occupy the northeastern jungle not terribly far from the Overlook. They worship an ancient unknown god, and years of inbreeding amongst the tribe have marred the faces that lay beneath their ornate masks. They paint themselves with intricate designs made from a substance distilled from the jungle plants, and their tribal chief is feared even amongst the Darfari berserkers. A towering man of great power and influence, it's unknown where he got his spear, but it has slain many Darfari over the years. The peace between the Darfari and Yargan is tenuous at best, as the area where the ship has beached has long been battled over, and it seems the Yargan are preparing once again to push that claim. And there we have it, episode 3, season 2 of Settlers is now complete. The Darfari have functional, primitive places to sleep away from the rain and the lightning, but all that may be for nothing as the Yargan are rearing their heads once again. There's plenty of history between the two tribes, but will they devolve into war once more? Only time will tell. If you enjoy my content, all the links to my Twitch, Twitter, Discord, Patreon, Host Havoc affiliate page, NordVPN discount and NordPass discount are available in the description below. However, of course, you can simply just leave a like, a comment or subscribe. Any of those are very greatly appreciated. Patrons get a bunch of nice benefits, including sneak peeks of videos, your name in every video, custom made wallpapers in 1080p and 4K resolutions, full-size build blueprints, Discord roles and more. On that note, a massive thanks to our patrons Sadialot, Randar, Connor, Ivy, Torn, Ill-Fated, Coffeeman04, Jacques, Marion Ladd, Ryan, Ben, Alfric and Eagle Rose. As always, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.